There will be now a silent prayer or meditation. You may be seated. Honorable members, are there any member statement? Honorable Grobler.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I hereby rise to deliver a member statement on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. According to the roles and responsibilities of premiers, the Premier is the senior representative and spokesperson for the government. Is usually its predominant parliamentary performer and tends to set the overall tone and direction of the government. Honourable Deputy Speaker, it is evident that the Honourable Premier and the Department is leading the way with obtaining a qualified opinion by the AG. This opinion is on the basis that the Premier's office paid a service provider in the excess of 21 million rand, but there is no evidence that the services were ever received. Honourable Deputy Speaker, to make matters worse, the Premier's office commissioned and investigated to try and recoup a mere 7.6 million rand, which to date has been unsuccessful. This is shocking, Honourable Deputy Speaker. To make matters even worse, the next year the Honourable Premier and the Department will be asking the Portfolio Committee of Premier's Office Finance and Economic Development and Tourism to condone the writing off of the 21 million rand. How many people in Mpumalanga could have benefited? Honourable Premier, it's like the creative accounting that was done to hide the department's blunder to distribute the Youth Development Fund in a specific financial year. It's more evident now than ever that government officials in all departments have been practicing creative accounting for many years, but the DA knows that the ANC's days are numbered. The DA welcomes and hopes the ANC members of this august House will also welcome the recent arrests of multiple government officials in Mpumalanga for various corruption charges. I thank you.
Thank you. Leader of Government.
Good afternoon, Deputy Speaker and the Honourable Premier and the House at large. Well, indeed, this government is for the clean governance. It is for this reason we've introduced what we refer clean audit. In terms of the norms and standards, any clean governance unqualified, but we went further to introduce the clean governance. Honourable Grobler correctly referred to a matter referred as SIMS. The former DG appointed this individual company, and already the Premier put an investigation, and the investigation report is available. Mamkiza, the former DG Mamkiza. The report is indeed available, and proper actions are going to be taken around that issue. Indeed, if the Premier was not concerned about the good governance and clean governance, that investigation would not have taken place. Thank you very much, Honourable Grobler.
Are there any member statement? Honourable Makaring.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. On behalf of the African National Congress, I would like to commend the MEC for Public Works, Road and Transport, Comrade Mandla Ndlovu, for donating bicycles in various schools within Gert-Sibanda District Municipality. The Shovagalula bicycle handover forms part of government plans to ensure that all learners have access to quality public education irrespective of their location from school. These bicycles were awarded as part of monitoring scholar transport in the Gert-Sibanda District Municipality. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I move that this House congratulate this good initiative by our Honourable MEC, as these bikes will reduce travel time and also improve academic outcomes, as the learners will give more time to schoolwork. I thank you.
Leader of Government.
Well, thanks very much, Honorable Makareng, for the motion raised. Indeed, it's almost very good. You know, a bicycle is part of exercising. Now, it will equally assist these young ones mentally as they travel so easy to go to school. They will not get late because they will determine their own destination towards the school. For we welcome the appreciation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any member statement, Honorable Mkabela?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The Economic Freedom Fighters welcome the arrest of the former Nkomazi local municipal manager, Mr. Den Ngwenya, for fraud and corruption after it was alleged to have bought himself a vehicle worth 900,000 using municipal coffers. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we would also like to applaud and commend the Hawks for their sterling work in ensuring that the former manager is brought to book and held accountable. We would also like to appreciate and commend the whistleblower who exposed and assisted the authorities about the alleged corruption. This is a warning, Honorable Deputy Speaker, a warning sign to other corrupt municipal managers and officials in all the other municipalities that they too, their day is coming. As we all know that there's a lot of corruption happening in all municipalities, but are being covered up by the ANC politicians. I thank you.
Honorable Shongwe.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, and let me greet the Premier, my colleagues and members of the legislature, the management under the leadership of the DG and all the support staff from the legislature under the leadership of the Secretary. Maybe on this one we must thank the police as usual for their sterling work of doing their work for whoever have been found to be corrupt. And I think the special unit called Hawks, it's part of their responsibility and their space to make sure that they investigate this and take it through the NPA to the justice. We will await the outcome of the justice because the law of this country says you must prove beyond reasonable doubt that as a person is guilty of whatever that is claimed to have committed. And in that manner, we will also like to say to honorable members, let us not politicize this. Let's make sure that we leave it to the hands of the authorities to do their work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any member statement, honorable members? Honorable Shabalala.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The ANC would like to welcome the arrest of two ESCOM employees during this month of October 2022 at Tutugane Power Station in Standerton. Noting that the President Ramaphosa raised his concerns when he visited the area in July 2022 about the reported cases of deliberate sabotage at Tutugane, which ultimately contributes to the power cut of the country, which the country is facing now. The President was assured that security will be beefed up, and we have seen some progress as two ESCOM employees were caught while trying to steal drums of hydraulic oil. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Tutugane management assured that with the introduction of the drone, specialist security services and intelligence cameras, they are winning the war against deliberate sabotage by employees. Whistleblowers also are protected. They are also urged to come with information with with information of the theft joined the fight against electricity deliberate sabotage. We therefore call upon all our lawmakers to pass legislation with harsh penal provision of those found guilty of electricity supply sabotage and those stealing cables and transformers at our substations. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Shongwe.
Kakhulu sakela somlomo ngibonge nakumhlonishwa ngemotion ayisukumisile ngisho ukuthi futhi siyavumelana nomthetho nabaphenyi kuloku asebakwenzile in particular eEskom ukuthi bazame ukugijimisa yonke lento engahambi kahle eEskom ngoba ekugcineni yiyo lena esikhozela lento yabo ma load shedding ukuthi insiza zigcina zingayi la ifanele khona sikubonga kakhulu lokho but ke ngisho ngikhumbuza indlu phela ukuthi akusiye upresident kuphela beka sethuthukani beka hamba noprime singabokukhohlwa lokho ngoba upresident understanda kahle ukuthi uma eza eMpumalanga naseMpumalanga kunomholi kungako ke eze wahamba naye baya naye lapha eThuthukani sibonge kakhulu ke nathi as a Department of Community Safety Security Liaison together namaphoyisa sike savakashela nje indawo eziningi eMelo in particular 5 emayini this so called illegal mines sithole abantu abaningi kakhulu as I'm speaking about 189 yabantu bokuhamba abangasiba la South Africa basejele njengoba ngikhuluma manje baboshelwe lokho and lelo lahle lelo ligcina lifike eEskom kungasilo ilahle liprocesseke kahle ligcina licontributor nalo futhi ku load shedding kusho kona ukuthi kufanele sibambisane kizo zonke lezi including yona le diesel lapha ya elokanjaneni ngasemalahleni namaphethelo kulama Eskom akhona sikujabulela kakhulu lokho siyabonga.
Thank you. Are there any member statement? Honorable Weber.
Madam Speaker, may I take this opportunity to greet my friends and to greet my foes and maybe comedians. Madam Speaker, the Freedom Front Plus is focused on the rights of minority groups. The Freedom Front Plus wants to be seen and wants to be heard by the minority groups that we champion their cause. It is therefore our duty to ensure that minority groups are represented and protected in all aspects of society, including job security. Minority in South Africa does not necessarily mean white. It also includes colored and Asian groups.
You may take your seat, Honorable Weber. Honorable Shongwe.
Mhlonishwa sakela mlomo bengithanda ukusho ukuthi ukuze indlu yoshaya umthetho ibe indlu ehloniphekile nabahlonishwa bahlonipheke nomhlonishwa naye ahlonipheke bengicela ukuthi le language yokubiza indlu ngama comedian kungathi namafuzi kungathi angayi-withdrawa lelo gama lelo ngoba lehlisa isithunzi sendlu yoshaya umthetho ngiyabonga.
Your order is sustainable. It's sustained, Honorable Shongwe.
Madam Speaker, I respectfully and humbly withdraw.
Thank you. Can you continue?
Madam Speaker, to recoup, minority in South Africa does not necessarily mean white. It also includes colored and Asian groups. In Mpumalanga, about 9.35% of the population consists of minority groups. For the sake of fairness and in the spirit of the Constitution of this democratic country, The Freedom Front Plus is therefore of the opinion that minority groups in the province should be represented in at least 9% of the jobs, including government jobs. Across all governmental departments, this is not the case in Mpumalanga. Minority groups only represent between 0.8% and 5% of the total employees of the provincial government. Provincial Treasury scores the highest of the employment of minority groups with 5.1%, followed by Finance with 4.9%. Departments with the lowest number of employees from minority groups are Community Safety with 3%, Agriculture with 2.6%, and Social Development with only 0.8% of its 1,981 employees. That's 17 employees which are of the minority groups out of 1,981 employees that are from minority groups. Honourable Speaker, in a fair and just democratic society, and in a country so rich in diversity, it is the responsibility of the government to ensure fair and equal representation of all. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Leader of Government.
Oh, thank you. Honorable Deputy Speaker, thank you very much. Well, this government employs everybody who qualifies, irrespective. It is for this reason that we have introduced the law and the Equity Act that deals in the main with the skills required. So I don't think that is a real issue if those individuals are not applying. But obviously we support that South Africa belongs to all those who live and work in it. That is our motto and our principle. I would have appreciated if Honorable Weber equally referred to the land, how much land is somewhere, the percentage. I hope one day we'll talk about that issue as well. But we agree that people must be appointed based on their skills, knowledge, and they must be encouraged to apply. And that's why even when we deal with the issue of the houses, we believe everybody must qualify, irrespective who is that person. Color is not an issue to this government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mashilo. Executive statement, I'm informed that there's no executive statement. Motion without notice. Are there any motion without notice? Honorable Mlombo.
Mhlonishwa Deputy Speaker, ake ngikubulise ngokuhlonipha okukhulu. Ngibulise undunankulu nazo zonke izinduna ezihamba nondunankulu. Ngibulise abalingani bami abaku legislature nomholi wamaqembu aphikisayo umhlonishwa uSidibe nabo bonke i-support staff elidwa uSecretary we-Legislature. Deputy Speaker, I rise to move a motion without notice on behalf of the African National Congress to appreciate the Road Accident Fund for embarking on an eyesight program in Mbombela. The intention was to promote road safety education with a specific focus on long-distance drivers and passengers of public transport. Honorable Deputy Speaker, noting that as many trucks, taxis, bus accidents have plagued Ehlanzeni on the busy N4, the RAF strategically intervened by offering 3 health checks to drivers of public transport and trucks in order to discover conditions that can impair the ability to drive. Lenti rafienza young bamba nam, I can't see without the glasses. That's why I sing Fagala my glasses. The RAF funded a mobile clinic with dispensing nurse and an optometrist to test and prescribe driving classes on the spot at no cost to the drivers. Further noting, Deputy Speaker, that statistics show that people with visual impairment and those who have chronic health conditions such as epilepsy, diabetes, and high blood pressure account for a significant portion of accidents. It is therefore imperative that the drivers undergo routine testing and follow any treatment recommended by the clinics. This might contribute in decreasing the frequency of accidents. It is on this basis that the African National Congress moved that this House appreciates the good work done by the Road Accident Fund in contributing to road safety in our province. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Mlombo. It's so agreed. Any motion without notice? Honorable Zandamela.
No, Sibonge, Deputy Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters to raise a motion without notice following the Honorable Premier's recent visit to KwaZulu-Natal, where she showered the Amazulu King with 3 cows. In as much as we appreciate the gesture, we are concerned that the Honorable Premier does not give our traditional leaders the same attention as she did. In the province, Deputy Speaker, we have 50 chiefs and royal councils in dire need of the government intervention. And we would like to challenge the Honorable Premier to also prioritize our own. Honorable Premier, when was the last time you visited King Makosonke's Royal Crawl or Inkosi Mahlasela's Royal Council in Buzini? When were you Premier when your own MEC of Kokta officially installed Inkosi Malaza, Hosi Mnisi, as the rightful heirs of their respective thrones? Our kings and chiefs also deserves to be shown appreciation and receive support. We therefore challenge the Premier to do the same to our chiefs and kings. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Zandamela. The question before the House is whether we agreed to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Zandamela. The motion is defeated. Any?
Ngiyabonga somlomo lohloniphekile. Siyinhlangano lebusako, inhlangano ye-African National Congress. Sithandza ukuthatha leli thuba sincome litiko letenhlalakahle lelibambisene nenkampani MTN ngekunikela nge-Multimedia Center lefaka ama-computer lang-22, i-printer kanye ne-projector. Ngomhla ka-29 kule nyanga lesuka kuyo lisekela lendvuna Harrieta Mohapane Zulu belilapha endzaweni yaseMgobodzi la belinikena khona ngemklamo kumphakathi wakamaweyo. Lona mklamo utocetsa kakhulu tukwelusha lwethu. Utoncetsa kakhulu tukwelusha lethu uma lifuna kwenda ema-CV, uma lithumela ticelo temisebenzi nalokunye lokuhambisana nebuciko. Lona mklamo uyophinze uhlomlise labakhubatekile lebasebenzisa i-sign language, i-internet nalokunye lokuhambisana nabongqondomshini. Sekela somlomo ngako ke i-ANC iphakamisa ukuthi le ndlu lehloniphekile ihalelisa Mokgopane Zulu. Sinelithemba ke ukuthi umphakathi uyosebenzisa letinsita kahle uphinze futhi utivikele ungavandalize. Ngiyabonga Sekela Somlo.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Shongwe. It's so agreed. Any motion without notice? Honorable Morgan.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Greetings to the House and to the Honorable Premier. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I rise to deliver a motion without notice on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. Noting that the COVID-19 pandemic was a time of uncertainty, despair, and of hope. As the pandemic gained momentum in our province, it brought to the fore a lot of issues which many communities in the province faced on the ground, and a lack of running water was highly prevalent in the province. Knowing this, the South African government made funds available in order to secure much-needed PPE in government departments across the province and provided initiatives to secure basic services. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in light of this context, what makes it right for government officials to then steal monies which are meant to ensure service delivery in our province? Following the dispersing of the monies countrywide and alongside rumors of corruption, fraud, and maladministration, investigations into these allegations were conducted by the Special Investigation Unit countrywide. On the 8th of June 2022, the HOD for Kokta, Samgelo Ngubane, and his 3 accused were arrested over personal protective equipment, fraud, and corruption amounting to 5.9 million. Given the above, I move that this House welcomes the work conducted by the SIU and stand together with the Democratic Alliance in welcoming these arrests in the Department of Kokta. To suspend Samgelo Ngubane as he is still working and in a position to affect the outcome of the investigations. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agreed to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Morgan. The motion is defeated. Any motion without notice, Honorable Lachminarin.
I'm told it's already been dealt with, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Oh, it's okay. Are there any motion without notice? Honorable Weber.
Madam Speaker, I rise on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus to put a motion without notice to this Honourable House. The Mpumalanga police force is in dire need of additional vehicles for visible policing, detective services, and patrols. Most of the station's departments have a severe shortage of police vehicles. One of the most important police units in the fight against gender-based violence, the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit, are either unable to attend to the cases or need to share one vehicle between them. It is specifically the Mbombela, Ermelo, Middleburg, and Acornhoek units that are in desperate need for more vehicles. The police's ability to combat and investigate crimes is hamstrung by the shortage of operational police vehicles. I hereby move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus that these units must be prioritized when the new budget of 99 million for new police vehicles in the province for the 2022 and 2023 financial year is allocated. The vehicles allocated should be suitable for long-distance driving and light on fuel consumption, as several of the towns are in one cluster very far apart. Without the correct resources, our police officers' hands are tied. I so move, Madam Deputy Speaker.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Weber. It's so agreed. We'll now go to notice of motions. Are there any notices of motion? Honorable Mlombo.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I'm sorry for doing this like at school, you know. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I rise on behalf of the African National Congress to deliver a notice of motion on the impact of drugs and crime in our province and its economy. Honorable Deputy Speaker, crime and drugs are interrelated. Thousands of young people are drug addicts and permanent slaves of the drug lords. Families are destroyed and communities live under permanent fear of the drug lords and the drug addicts. In most instances, drugs are the direct cause of crime like rape, murder, theft, and brutal assault. Crime affects all, irrespective of color, sex, race, political affiliation, rich or poor. In this regard, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I move that in its next sitting, the House should debate the impact of drugs and crime in our province and its economy, and the possibilities of all political parties in the province across ideological differences to collaborate and work together to fight against drugs and crime in our province. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. The motion is noted and will be dealt with accordingly. Formal motions. Are there any formal motions? There's a formal motion that is on the name of Honorable F.V. Mlombo. And I have a speakers list in front of me. And the first speaker is Honorable F.V. Mlombo. 10 minutes, Honorable Mlombo.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Premier, the Leader of Government Business, members of the Executive Council, the Deputy Chief Whip, the Leader of the Official Opposition, and members of the Legislature. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are called upon to debate whether our government has done enough to achieve a caring, capable, and developmental state, and what measures should be put in place to fast-track the achievement of a caring, capable, and developmental state. First and foremost, Honorable Deputy Speaker, let us assure the people of Mpumalanga that the ANC has made tremendous progress in the establishment and building of the caring, capable, and developmental state, despite the protest and influence from the neoliberal countries who wanted our country to implement the Washington Consensus. We did so because we believe that the implementation of a developmental state responds directly to the post-colonial challenges that are engulfing our country and our economy. To us, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the capable and developmental state is not only about the quality of public servants and the efficiency of its institutions, but it is fundamentally about how citizens are empowered to participate in the running of their country and shape their own destiny. It is about transforming and changing the colonial structure of the state and the economy. It is about building a thriving democracy, which is a prerequisite to the building of a developmental state. It is about a state that plays a transformative and developmental role. It is about the state intervention in the development of society. It is about building the state capacity to drive development and deliver services to the people. And lastly, it is about a state that enables its people to develop their capabilities. From the moment when we resolved, as the African National Congress-led government, to build a developmental state, we knew, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that we had a mammoth task of redressing the apartheid and colonial legacy, because we were supposed to ensure that the resources that benefited the minority before 1994 benefits the majority post-1994. We knew that we were expected to ensure that the water that catered for 9% of the population of South Africa, who were mostly whites before 1994, should now benefit close to about 55 million South Africans. We knew that we had a mammoth task because South Africans were expecting us to ensure that the electricity that was made to cater for only 9% of the population of this country before 1994 should benefit the entire South African population of 55 million people. We knew that it was a difficult task to ensure that there are enough roads for all South Africans so that they can utilize those roads. We knew that we were supposed and we were expected to ensure that the jobs that were reserved for only 4 million people, they should and are supposed to be distributed and made available to all South Africans. We were expected to ensure that the universities that were reserved for a few white children are open to all and have enough resources to cater for all our children in South Africa. We were accordingly expected, Honorable Deputy Speaker, to ensure that the quality, accessible and affordable health care, which was meant for only the privileged whites, it's now open and accessible to all South Africans. Surely, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and all honorable members in the House, they will agree with me that surely we were confronted with a mammoth task. From the above prevailing conditions then, it became clear that we were faced with a mammoth task, difficult to execute under conditions of an economy that had colonial features, yet, but not insurmountable, to an ANC-led government that was full of determination, full of courage, full of resilience, of compassion and restraint. With determination, we have built our country to cater for all. We have built roads, bridges, railway lines, airports, and warehouses. We have built hospitals and clinics across the province and the country. We have built bulk distribution infrastructure to distribute water and sanitation across the country. We have built schools, universities, and education infrastructure across the country. We have provided social support to small-scale farmers and integrated them into the value chain. We have built homes, human settlements, towns, and villages across our country. We have built a local government system that is resilient, that is efficient, and that is accessible. We have ensured that the citizens of our country participate in the process of running their country through structures which we have built, structures like school governing bodies, community policing forum, hospital boards, street committees, and ward committees. Yes, Honorable Deputy Speaker, we believe that we have moved a long way in building a capable, caring, and developmental state. The task that has been achieved by the African National Congress cannot be measured by any political party sitting here in this house. Our distractors are only capable of making noise. None of them can match the capacity of the ANC. None of them have ever patched a single pothole. None of them have ever fixed a broken robot. None of them have ever provided a single desk at school. None of them have the capacity to formulate and implement policies that will build state capacity to drive development and deliver service to our people. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are proud as the African National Congress that beyond our service to the people and beyond our existence on this earth, our grandchildren will inherit a country where education is compulsory and fashionable, where no one will suffer the indignity of sleeping on a hungry stomach, where quality, affordable, and accessible health care is a right, not a privilege, where access to water and sanitation is enjoyed by the majority of the people, where there is respect for the life of an individual, irrespective of color, sex, or ethnic origin. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we have achieved all the above because we believe in the beauty of our dreams. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable Sedibe. 10 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Greetings to the Premier and honorable members, as well as the Chief Whip of the official opposition and all in the House. Honorable Speaker, the debate before the House demonstrates that there is confusion about what is economic policy and what is capable and developmental state. It is shocking to hear from Honorable Mlombo citing patching of potholes as part of a developmental state. But what is even more troubling and shocking is the idea that there is some link between a capable and a developmental state and the failed NDP. In the dawn of democracy, the ANC government decided to start selling water and electricity in Emakazeni, Steve Twete, Emalahleni, Tembisile and local municipalities and others. That is not a caring state. In the dawn of democracy, the ANC government decided to start outsourcing cleaning services for workers to be exploited by labor brokers. That is not a caring state. However, Mr. Mlombo is continuing to mislead our people on behalf of the ANC. In the dawn of democracy, it was the ANC government that decided to collapse technical colleges, teachers and nursing and training colleges. It was the ANC that closed Gwandebele College of Education, Mapulaneng, Mkoenya, Elijah Mango, Marapiane, etc. There was never an objective to build a capable and developmental state by the ANC government. Today, it is almost 28 years since the dawn of democracy, and this is the reality for many of our people. Unemployment in South Africa is sitting at 33.9%. Here in Mpumalanga, unemployment is even higher, sitting at 36.1%, that highest unemployment rate in the country. We have close to 5 million people living in Mpumalanga, and over 50% of them live in abject poverty. They cannot afford to feed their families, put a roof over their heads, and send their children to get decent education. Of the 64 municipalities that are dysfunctional in the country, 6 of them are here in Mpumalanga. to debate whether our government has done enough to achieve a caring, capable and developmental state in South Africa and here in Mpumalanga is not only misguided, but it is also a sign that the ruling party is out of touch with the reality facing our people. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, allow us not to waste time with the so-called NTP that allegedly have a bold and ambitious vision with clear targets to be achieved by 2030. The same NTP that said the economy will grow by 6%, but we know that the ANC does not have a practical and believable economic plan. We know this because since the NTP was adopted as a government policy, the economy has not grown by more than 3%, let alone the 6%. The same NTP that said unemployment will be halved by 2030, but we are in 2022 with less than 7 years to go, and unemployment had doubled. More than 11 million people who are willing to work are looking for work and cannot find job. The same NTP that said the ruling party will build a capable state to play a development transformative role. But today, the same ruling party is selling South African Airways for 53 rand, decommissioning Eskom power station in Komati, and privatizing ports and delivery of essential basic services. There is no NTP. What is left is rhetoric on renewal and step aside. What is to be done? Now I'm giving you a free political lecture, Honorable Speaker and the ANC. What must happen for South Africa to build a capable and development state? And you must listen and listen very careful, Honorable Mlombo. Number one, we must give people free education and free health care and housing. It is only when we have a healthy, educated and housed population that we can begin to have a productive society. Number two, we must rebuild industries that produces things that our people use on a daily basis. We must build industries that shift the economy of Middelburg, Hendrina, Pullens Hope and Komati away from coal, steel and Eskom power generation to sustainable economic activities that takes into account the environment while creating jobs for our people. Number three, we must move away from export of avocados, macadamia and citrus and build agro-processing facilities in the subtropical parts of the province, in Onderberg and in Barberton and Hazelview to create jobs. Number four, we must do away with tenders and in-source cleaners, gardeners, security guards, engineers, planners, and other technical skills to build functioning departments and deliver services to our people. Number five, and the last, we need to establish a provincial state-owned bank here in Mpumalanga. Since Parliament amended the Banks Act to allow state-owned companies to apply for a full banking license, we cannot speak of developmental state as a province, but we do not have provincial state-owned bank. We must have a state-owned bank in Mpumalanga to give affordable loans to our people to build homes. We must have a state bank in Mpumalanga to give young people loans to start their own business. Like, for example, the youth fund that was created or established by the Office of the Premier. If it can be transformed to a Mpumalanga state-owned brand, that can be a progressive, honorable Premier. Then we must have a functional and well-capitalized state bank in Mpumalanga to expand banking licenses to rural communities like Hlubugani, Manyeleti, Vervetin in Pushback Ridge, Honorable Makaringa, and in Kobotsi, Mbuzini, and Komazi, Honorable Shongwe, among other areas. There's a lot of such rural areas that need these facilities. This is the foundation to begin to talk about the developmental state in Mpumalanga. But because we are led by people who do not have political will and vision, we will have to wait until we take over power in 2024 and implement this decisive radical program of action as the EFF. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable Javier Morgan. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I rise on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, and I believe that this provincial government has not done enough to attain a caring, capable, and developmental state because we have for a long time lost our way. We cannot say that we have done enough to attain the notion of a caring and capable state when, as a result of our own actions, greed and corruption, it became okay for a government to sell the residents of Henrina, KwaZamukuhle, Pullens Hope and surrounding to the likes of people and corporates like the Guptas, a decision which left residents in the once profitable town without jobs, feeling hopeless and in despair. It is really a shame that the once profitable town has been turned into a ghost town in the space of just 6 years. Honorable Speaker, we were not motivated by the notion of a caring, capable, and developmental state when businesses and residents in areas like Graskop, Leidenburg, Dahlstrom, and Barberton were left to fend for themselves too. I do not believe that we have done enough to achieve the notion of caring when till today a number of our hospitals and clinics are inaccessible or unusable. 32% of the population go to bed hungry, and hundreds of thousands of residents scramble on a daily basis just to attain water. I firmly believe that in recent times, our economic policies and the issues which we face on the ground did nothing more than to reduce investors' confidence in this province. And that if we are to grow the provincial economy in a way that attains these visions, we have to address these issues. Honorable Speaker, therefore, in moving forward, we really need to ask ourselves, who would want to invest in a town without water, where areas are inaccessible because of poor road infrastructure and where crime is exorbitantly high? The road to fast-track the achievements of a capable and caring and developmental state is only possible if we increase investor confidence and boost tourism, as this would add to the provincial fiscus. Our province is rich in its tourism potential, and this potential has the ability to transform the lives of many and provide decent employment. But in order to boost this, we have to make tourists feel safe in Mpumalanga, especially after the issue with the German tourist. For a number of years now, tourists were being robbed, raped, and murdered at numerous attractions in the province, and because of which I call on the provincial government to ensure some form of police presence at our tourist attractions. Secondly, and with regards to tourism, the roads leading to a number of these destinations are in a poor condition. And as we currently own jet patcher vehicles, let us ensure that the potholes to such attractions in the province are patched. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I correct myself, many towns in the province have 6 to 10 hours without electricity because of load shedding and load reductions. And this is seriously affecting businesses in the area. We need to come up with a securing alternative source of energy in the province if we wish to fast-track attaining a caring, capable, and developmental state. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Morgan. The next speaker is Honorable S.J. Manzini. 7 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable Leader of Government, Honorable Chief Whip, Deputy Chief Whip, and Honorable Members of the Legislature, Honorable Members of the Executive. Honorable Speaker, I stand up to address this August House on a topical yet complex subject of building a capable developmental state in South Africa. In this debate, I intend to do a high-level assessment on the progress our government has registered in building a caring and capable development state and most importantly, make some proposal on what needs to be done to expedite the process of building a capable developmental state which will address the people's needs in South Africa. I choose to dedicate today's debate on a subject matter to the late Professor Thandika Mkandaware, a Malawian economics and public intellectual who dedicated most of his being as a scholar to studying and producing theory on the question of developmental state, especially in Africa. It is through the work of scholars like him that it is now an accepted definition that a developmental state is a state which has derived political legitimacy from its record in promoting economic development, which is usually measured through high level of economic growth, industrialization, and the quality of life of ordinary citizens. Mkandawire further argues that a developmental state is not a class-neutral entity, but has an ideological structure nexus wherein the ideological outlook is developmentalist and interventionist, standing directly opposed to the theory of neoliberalism and the structure referring to how the state is organized and its ability to plan and execute progressive economic intervention in its form, which we commonly refer to as a capability of the state. Honourable Speaker, from the above brief theory on the subject matter, one can already deduce the governing party was correct that South Africa requires a capable developmental to deal with the legacy of settler colonialism, which reduced blacks in general and African in particular to hewers of wood and drawers of water, while other races accumulated wealth and privileges. We need this capable developmental state to assist the historical excluded through different intervention to place them at mainstream of the economy and improve all aspects of their lives, like the country's economy refers to East Asian tigers. The provincial government of Mpumalanga was committed to the vision of building a capable development state by the Honorable Premier in her State of the Province address earlier this year, when she said, open quote, "We have always argued that for the economy to grow at a faster pace and create the much-needed jobs, it needs well-oiled state machinery, a capable and developmental state that is accountable and responsive to the needs of our people." And further went on to say, as we, Mpumalanga, we reiterate our commitment to professionalizing civil service in all spheres of provincial government by employing capable and qualified men and women based on merit in both provincial and local government. Furthermore, we believe that public participation is critical to sustain a deepened and strong culture of a developmental democratic state. This is the Premier of the province leading government, not talking Istamto and everything. So this is what she said. So, Honourable Speaker, as a province, we are part of this journey of building a capable developmental state and will continue to play that role by, amongst other, internalizing and implementing the profound resolution of the National Cabinet, which set on the 19th of October 2022 and resolved on the following in relation to improving the capabilities of the state. Cabinet approved the National Implementation Framework towards the professionalization of the public service. The framework was published for public consultation in 2021. The framework provides 5 pillars of intervention in professionalizing the public service. The pillars include pre-entry recruitment and selection within the public service, induction and onboarding, planning and performance management, continuous learning and professional development, and cater for management and progression and career incident. Honourable Speaker, these are profound decisions meant to build a capable developmental state, but we should never miss the important point that a capable developmental state is not an end in itself, but a mean to end, and that end being a better life for all. It is for that reason that ANC's theory and practice of a developmental state is anchored around building a social safety net, which is not only limited to grant and administered by the Department of Social Development, but extended to include programs like EPWP and CWP. The purpose of these initiatives should always be understood in respect of the developmental state and not a welfare state, as some amongst the opposition benches have been arguing for the past decade, owing to a poor comprehension of our vision in addressing the imbalances of the apartheid legacy. the ANC government has also put in place some policies in line with developmental state, which is trying to save some of the state-owned enterprises, especially those that are of strategic value and play an important role in the fight against poverty. Also in the province, the Honorable Premier is championing the same program. It is important to understand that SOE are not just about a government intervention in the market and creating a monopoly, but it is a strategic intervention of the state in the market, laying the necessary basis for doing business in the country. One cannot will have meant that the democratic breakthrough was for the haves and not, and for the haves-nots, meaning we will still be bondage of apartheid and only have a white vote as evidence of our democracy. The developmental state, as highlighted even in the NDP, which is our guiding document that seeks to create a caring and a capable state. The question we are debating today is whether the government has done enough in achieving a caring, capable, and developmental state. We are a young democracy and building a new society. A lot has been achieved within the short space of time, but a lot still needs to be done to undo the legacy of apartheid. A developmental state has got an important role to play by intervening also in the health sector. Ensure that South Africans have equal access to healthcare, irrespective of the depth of their pocket or geographical location, consistent with the developmental outlook of the state. We are currently piloting the National Health Insurance, which we as a department, the NHI is based on the principle of to each according to their want and need, and not to each according to their affordability. Honorable Speaker, the NHI is a game changer, which will bring about equality to the healthcare sector by pooling resources and bringing about quality healthcare to all those who need it, thus achieving the objective of caring, capable state, a developmental state, and increasing life expectancy. Honorable Speaker, allow me to conclude by call on the members of the House and our government officials to join this journey of building a capable developmental state, which is based on philosophy of serving the people, and frown on this President Thabo Mbeki described when he said, "We must be impatient with those in the public service who see themselves as pen pushers and guardian of rubber stamp thrifts instead of self-enrichment. Bureaucrats who think they have a right to ignore the vision of Batupili, who come to work as late as possible, come and work lately as possible and knock off the enemy." So, honorable members, we are on track as a government of the ANC, and we'll make sure that we implement what we have promised our people. Amen. Thank you.
The next speaker, Honorable Weber, 5 minutes.
Madam Speaker, if we want to create a capable government, we must employ the best. If you want to win the World Cup in rugby, you must choose the best players. If you want to win medals at the Olympic Games, you must choose the fastest and the strongest athletes. And therefore, if we want to build a capable state, you must choose the best people for each position in South Africa. Unfortunately, I was not convinced that that is the case. But I've heard something very delightful today. I've heard that affirmative action has been scrapped today because it has been announced that the ANC does not see color at all anymore. And that is a delightful moment in my life. I applaud that. Now, Madam Speaker, the government should concentrate on to do those things that private individuals can't do. They must look at building infrastructure, roads and transport, and they must make sure that there are no potholes. And I've heard something which is quite alarming. I heard that it's only the government that is filling potholes. It's not true. It's not true. In my town, the businesses donate tar, private individuals fill the potholes. I personally have filled potholes, and therefore the statement that it's only the government that does that is not true. Then I've heard from the EFF that to build a developing state, we must have a state bank. But we've got one. We've got one. We've got the land bank. But it's bankrupt. It's bankrupt because in the land bank, people have been appointed who do not have the best skills. If we want to be winning nations, we must employ those with the best skills. And that is without any, well, we can't debate about that. It's logical. Now, Madam Speaker, there is a delightful change in the attitude of government. I want to applaud that. And I'm not trying to be funny. We are at the point where there is a change in government attitude. We have the DDM, the District Development Model, which is a step in the right direction. We have the Small Town Regeneration Framework, which is a partnership between the community, the broader community, the municipality, which has the constitutional mandate, and we have the business community. We want, that's a step in the right direction because there we take hands, we join our forces. Madam Speaker, I want to make it very, very clear that from my side, we have rolled up our sleeves. We are there to support. I am here to support. I am here to be constructive. I want to build. I'm not a wrecker. I want to build. I'm a builder. Now, Madam Speaker, if I say so, I want to give the assurance to the government party that my party, not only me, my party is there to support. My party is there to be constructive. And with that message, Madam Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am convinced that we have very severe problems in South Africa, but I believe that the political will is there. I believe that the political will is there, and with that political will, if we join our forces, we will build a beautiful and a prosperous South Africa. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Weber. The next speaker is Honorable Grobler. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity to take part in this debate. The question is, have government done enough to create a capable, caring, capable and developmental state? And the short answer to that one, Deputy Speaker, is no. Entities like the MRTT and MEGA is proof of this. The Public Service Commission's report about the government's outstanding funds to small businesses, where they don't support small businesses that have actually delivered services to government, those people weren't paid, that's proof of this. The unemployment rate in the province, that is sky high, is proof of this. I suppose we can just stop here and say government hasn't done enough. But Deputy Speaker, let's have a look at what we can do to create a caring, capable and developmental state. Firstly, we need to get rid of our gluttonous ways when we are in positions of power. We need to realize that we are already blessed to have an opportunity to serve people. We already have an income, and we are not here to take more, but we are here to create an environment where others can actually flourish and where others can also make something for their lives and their livelihoods. We need to create an environment where individuals and businesses can flourish. Government is not central to job creation in South Africa. Government should not be the biggest employer because that's not sustainable. We need to enable the private sector to create jobs because that's the most sustainable way in which we can drop the unemployment rate. We need to ensure quality education where it doesn't matter in which school you matriculated, you've got a matric certificate that is worth something and that can take you forward. There needs to be opportunities for further study, but we need to realize that not everybody can be professional. There needs to be skills development where you can be an artisan, somebody with a skill that's got papers that can actually earn a living on a daily basis, because South Africa is a rich nation and our diversity makes us stronger, and everybody in the labor market can bring a difference. We need to then give businesses opportunities so that the people with skills, whether it's professional or as laborers, have got the opportunity to actually deliver on their trade. Make it easy for businesses to open up. Give them land with title deeds so that they can capitalize on the investment they make, so that they can open up businesses in order to create job opportunities for others. Ensure that there's a constant supply of electricity, water, and basic services so that people can actually produce what they need to do. Cut the rates and taxes and levies in order to help people to employ local people, and further incentivize them if they appoint young people, and further incentivize them if they train the people that work at them. Lastly, if they do business with government, pay them. This is how you have a caring, capable, and development state. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next speaker and the last one is Honorable Shongwe, VR.
No, ngiyabonga sekela somlomo. Ngibingelele futhi undunankulu, ama-member executive kanye nama-member legislature nabo bonke abakhona ngaphakathi. Nami ngibonge ukuzothatha iqhaza ukuzodebate le ndaba ye-caring and capable developmental state. Ngicabanga ukuthi uma siyidebate sizobe sikhuluma manga uma singayihlanganisi nepolitiki, ngoba i-government lena ephethe ingene through ipolitiki, through ama-voters. That is why ibizwa nge-leading party. And we cannot talk going forward and not reflecting back where we're coming from. I-government ebeyiphethe la ye-apartheid beyiphethe for over 300 years. Nama-policies ayo. Asikazi khulunywe lento ye-developmental state. Instead, bekhulunywe apartheid ne-segregation yabanye abantu in the country. That's why sisekhona. We only have 27 years as the ANC in government, as compared to the 300 years i-government le phumile ebephethe ngayo le South Africa. So kubalulekile ke ukuthi sisho ukuthi nobody, even the ardent critics of the ANC government, can claim that since 1994 there has been no progress in our people's life. That will be lying. Because we know exactly ukuthi abantu bakithi abebanganagesi before banawo ugesi namhlanje. Abantu bakithi ababangaphuza amanzi aclean, ababaphuza nenkomo ey'gqotsheni namhlanje baphuza amanzi aclean. Abantu bakithi ebebenganazindlu, ebebahlala ezindlini zodaka eziwayo noma nini, namhlanje banazo izindlu ze-RDP. Namhlanje sikhuluma ngabantu bakithi ukuthi ey'kolweni bane-transport ebamikisa ey'kolweni. La bebahamba khona ngenyawo ukuze kuvuleke umkenke enyaweni, banyathela isithwathwa ubusuku nemini baye esikolweni. Ngabe siyaphosisa uma singakhuluma manga sithi abantwana bethu abanayo namhlanje imifundazwe lena eshiwo ngu-Chief Whip of the Majority Party bayanikezwa imifundazwe. Kodwa namhlanje iyaphikwa leyo nto. Instead ama-party ema la e-platform namhlanje afuna ukudirector ama-policies of the African National Congress to favor them, which that is going to happen over our dead bodies. Kubalekile ke ngisho ukuthi uma sikhuluma nge-developmental state, kubalulekile ukuthi sikhumbuzane futhi ukuthi ngaphandle kwe-African National Congress la wonke lama-party alana azibiza nge-opposition party abengekho in kupolitiki before 1994. I-EFF yayizolo, i-DA yayizolo, i-Freedom Front Pass yayizolo, i-ANC solimile i-black, green and gold. So kubalulekile ukuthi sazi ukuthi le hulumende namhlanje masikhuluma nge-developmental state Sibuya la bekunama section 10 emalokishini. Uma ngabe kufanele ngisho uyohlola uyovakashela intombi yakho kwakungafanelanga uhambe uyoyivakashela unganayo ipermit yokuyovakashela intombi yakho. Sikhuluma namhlanje bekunama Group Areas Act arephiliwe. Ma Group Areas Act abesekela abantu abathile ingcenye yabantu bakithi thina endle emnyama sasingekho ndawo. Leyo mthetho namhlanje ayisekho. Sikhuluma namhlanje kunemithetho le eyayingazivumeli ukuthi sisuke la siyosebenza kwezinye indawo, singazivumeli ukuthi sihambe free ezabantu abansundu la eSouth Africa. Namhlanje siyahamba siya la sithanda khona namaphathi namhlanje nayema ngene eParliament wawungeke ungene eParliament ye-apartheid njengoba mina nawe ngimnyama la ngaphandle kokungena uyocleana kuphela. Wawungavoti ngisho ukuvota le vote namhlanje kubeke la. Yiphi le developmental state esikhuluma ngayo? If you compare it to the 300 years i-Nationalist Party ebephethe ngayo iSouth Africa isibisele emuva singazwani ngisho namanye amazwe siyiSouth Africa singakhona ukuya ndawo sihlale ekokosini singakhona even nokuyodlala namanye amazwe. Kunabantwana namhlanje emalokishini ababizwa ngabondleleni nabomahlathini ngoba abazali babo kwakufanele batholane emahlathini nasendleleni. I-Group Areas Act bavimbele nabo section 10. Bekunamo Job Reservation Act ebebabeke imisebenzi babekela abamhlophe. Wakho umntwana kwakwaziwa nje ukuthi umntwana womlungu uma kayiphoyisa ubaba wakhe nomntana wakhe uyoba iphoyisa. Anikwazi lokho nini? Anikwazi lokho. Anikazi leyo nto leyo. Kwakureserve imisebenzi reserve abamhlophe la South Africa. Isekhona yini leyo nto namhlanje? Isekhona. Awu. No amount of politicking from the opposition benches will in any way sway our people's belief and trust that the ANC is the only vehicle to their liberation. When the ANC leaders salute our people and say power to the people, they mean that because the ANC is for the people and it is ordinary people who will determine the future of this country, whether we like it or not. People ANC bangakhuluma abantu ngendlela abayikhulumayo bayigceke ngendlela abayikhulumayo kodwa abantu bayayazi ngisho uSedibe umngani wami uyazi ubuya khona kuANC ula khona namhla ku EFF ukhuluma isingisi wasifundiswa ngithi kuANC. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable Mlombo. It's so agreed. The Secretary shall read the first order of the day.
Order number 1, questions for oral reply to the Honorable Premier.
Mayor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Greetings to your good self, Honorable Leader of Business Government, our Honorable MECs, our Honorable Chief Whip and Deputy Chief Whip of the ruling party, Honorable Leader of Official Opposition, Honorable Members, DG and all HODs present, Sanbonan. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the first question is from Honorable Sedibe from EFF. During the State of the Province Address 2022,
Our Honorable Premier said that her office will be rolling out the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund to help young entrepreneurs in the province. It is now almost 4 months before the year 2022 comes to an end, and yet there are no reports or feedback with regards to the fund. The question, how many young people have benefited from this fund? Please give us a list of the beneficiaries. In response, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund has benefited 64 youth-owned businesses and 290 young people since 2022 financial year. For the current financial year, a total of 873 applications were received and are still being processed and considered for approval. This process of verification and assessment of each enterprise is meticulous in order to afford us an opportunity to conduct a thorough assessment of individual business needs so that our support for these enterprises is as holistic and as all-encompassing as possible. The list of enterprises that have been granted funding shall be made available to the Office of the Speaker, of which the Honorable Sidibe will access it through the Speaker. Question 2. For this year, 2022, how much was budgeted for the fund? In response, Honorable Deputy Speaker and members, the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund budgeted an allocation of 78 million rand. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sidibe, do you have a follow-up question?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I think let me appreciate that the Premier has committed that we will receive the list through the Office of the Speaker, and will await such to just satisfy ourselves that indeed it's happening. The program is rolling out, because the question is more about monitoring and checking whether the commitment is being implemented as promised. But also the fact that 209 young men and women have benefited, 299 years, though it's too lately, but it's good, because I want to believe that it will be there in each and every financial year. So the more budget, the more our young people will benefit from the program, and top up from the 64 businesses that have been established so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Premier, do you want to comment?
No, thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Indeed, we will make the list available, and also to indicate it, to agree with the Honorable Member that 290 might be little, and obviously we'll be adding on top of this 290 in this current financial year. But over and above that, Honorable Deputy Speaker, maybe I must share with the House. Before I came to the House, I had a meeting with the company called Hollywood Bet, where through the pitch for funding, they have made commitment to come and assist in supporting young businesses, and particularly youth and women. And we could not appreciate that initiative because of it adds on to the Youth Development Fund that we want to expedite and make sure that we reach out to as many youth as we could. And they have since requested the profiles of these 873 young people that have applied, which we will share amongst them, and they will join join in hands in making sure that we expand on the number of the allocation that we would be giving. That to us, it's a good initiative, very progressive, which we welcomed with two hands. That has just happened in about 3 hours earlier on. We really appreciate that initiative. And of course, we will keep the House abreast of the development as it happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable members, do you have any follow-up question? None? And the next question is from Honorable Makaringa, asking the Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. A relatively large number of young people of the active working ages can be a demographic asset for a country. The size in the youth population have implications for socio-economic development. The prioritization of youth by the provincial government in establishing the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund is one of the cornerstones to deal with poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Question 1. In terms of the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund, can the Honourable Premier indicate the total number of beneficiaries from the fund? Honourable Deputy Speaker, as I have indicated in the previous response, a total of 64 youth-owned businesses have been funded through the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund. Question 2. Does the provincial government have a strategy in disseminating information to the youth in terms of the provincial economic drivers and viability in relation to their interests? In response, Honourable Deputy Speaker, the establishment of the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund is one of the strategic commitments made by the provincial government to deal away with the red taping faced by youth-owned enterprises, as well as aligning them with the key economic sectors of the province. Furthermore, various departments are rolling out stimulus youth projects such as the Fortune 40 Young Farmers Incubation Program through DADIA and enterprise development through DDET, just to mention a few. This and numerous initiatives are being disseminated to the targeted cohort of our population through the following platforms: through our existing slots with our media partners, including Likwalakwala FM, Ikwekwezi FM, and Rise FM, through social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter. We are also in the process of developing a zero-rated mobile application through which young people may apply for the Mpumalanga Youth Development Funding and related business support. Question 3. Can the Premier indicate the current amount that has been dispersed to the fund to beneficiaries? In response, Honourable Speaker, to date, a cumulative amount of 71,329,971 rand has been dispersed to deserving youth-owned enterprises. Question 4. In terms of the above, can the Premier share the strategy employed by provincial government to monitor whether the funds are being used for its intended purpose by the beneficiaries? Madam Deputy Speaker, the purpose of the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund is to equip young people with financial and operational support in order for their enterprises to be sustainable. The provision of constant business management support is a fundamental pillar towards ensuring the sustainability of an enterprise as a going concern. The Office of the Premier and the Mpumalanga Economic Growth Agency monitor the progress of the beneficiaries on a monthly basis to ensure that funds are being utilized for the intended purpose and to provide business support to optimize operational performance. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Makaringa, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I think the Premier has responded very well. But I want to check that out of the 64 beneficiaries of the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund, whether the department has also considered the demographic of the province in terms of the 3 districts.
Thank you, Honorable Premier.
The answer, Honorable Deputy Speaker, is yes. We have considered all municipality, let alone the regional spread per province. All municipalities does have beneficiaries, and all, in essence, all the districts are being considered in this regard. And we will continue to make sure that none of the districts benefits the most at the expense of others. Of course, we are encouraging all youth companies and women companies across the length and breadth of the province to partake in this process and submit their application timeously so that they too can be considered.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Are there any follow-up questions, honorable members? None. And the next question is from Honorable VC, but we received the apology, and Honorable Mlombo will come in for Honorable Lubisi, asking Honorable Premier, over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. Indeed, the question is from Honorable Lubisi. It reads, farming represents a share of the rural economy and hence its relative importance as a sector determines its potential contribution to rural development. Farming and related activities make up the basic fabric of rural life. Agriculture is one of the most important economic drivers, and the Mpumalanga Rural Skills and Learnership Program is one of milestones undertaken by the provincial government. First question, in terms of the above-mentioned program, can the Honorable Premier shed some light on how many people benefited and which areas are they coming from across the province? In response, as part of Mpumalanga Rural Skills and Learnership Program, the provincial government has mandated the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Environmental Affairs to coordinate the implementation of Fortune 40 Youth Incubation Program, which seeks to capacitate young persons across the province to become sustainable farmers. The Fortune 40 program has, since its inception, benefited 985 young people coming from rural municipalities across the province. Furthermore, the table below indicates the number of farmers that benefited from the learnership program since its inception in 2019 to date and their districts. Just in Ehlanzeni, we had about 391 beneficiaries, of which they were trained through the Mzinti Training Center, Elijah Mango Pilgrim Rest Environmental Center, and Tula Mahashi and Mariti. In Kharsibande, we had about 265 beneficiaries, which were trained through Amsterdam and Elukwatini Environmental Centers. And in Kangala, we had about 329 beneficiaries, which were trained through Mdala, Delmas, Lifiso, and Marapiana Environmental Centers, which then makes a total of 985 beneficiaries. Question 2. Can the Honourable Premier elaborate on the assistance provided by the provincial government to these beneficiaries? In response, the provincial government provides training as part of the comprehensive support given to farmers. Most of these farmers come from projects that have benefited from farmer support services. The trainees that are new are registered into a farmer register to be included into the farmer support service program at the district level. The Fortune 40 program is comprised of 3 components, which are production, training, and business development. In the production component, we secure the land to implement the program and provide farm infrastructure and implements production input, farm maintenance, and advisory services. With regards to the training component, we assist our beneficiaries with enrollment to relevant SETA institutions that provide the requisite training. With regards to the business development component, we are assisting our beneficiaries with the establishment of trading entities, linking the projects to markets, arranging logistics to supply produce to markets, and ensuring smooth transfer of produce from one trader to the other without little or no challenges. We also provide our beneficiaries of the Fortune 40 program with monthly stipends for learners of about 2,000 rand per learner for 36 months, as well as transportation for learners to the project and training centers. Question 3. Can the Premier reflect the process of acquiring land for these beneficiaries to effectively utilize the skills they acquired? In response, we continue to work closely with all custodians of land in the province to ensure smooth processes for the acquisition of land for the beneficiaries for agricultural purposes. Custodians of land in this context relates to our traditional leaders, our local municipalities, National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. After identifying strategic or potential land to implement the program, we engage the relevant custodian and further facilitate the lease or the donation or ownership transfer before embarking on any farm infrastructure development. Question 4. What kind of post-settlement support is or will be provided to these beneficiaries to ensure continuous upskilling to respond to a changing environment which might be technological advancement or new ways of farming? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs has 2 farming programs through which it supports farmers to conduct their farming businesses. Once the newly trained farmers acquire the land through either the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development or local municipalities or traditional councils, they are assisted to apply for farmer support program, which are Pesgom Konomlimi, Masbuyele Esbayeni, or Comprehensive Agricultural Support Program for primary production and enabling infrastructure such as agro-processing, pack house, water development, and fencing. Through the Pesgom Kolomlimi program, farmers are supported with mechanization and agricultural production inputs. In response to climate change, new technologies have been introduced, such as Teller seeds, which are drought and diseases resistance. Furthermore, depending on the scale, farmers can apply to get the square foot garden box technology, which is embedded with digital decision-making technology. In this way, farmers struggling to get farming land are supported since these boxes can be utilized in a very limited space. As part of strengthening the post-settlement support, the department will continue to forge new partnership with private sector through public-private partnership to ensure unlimited opportunities for young people in the province to remain abreast with advanced farming technology. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Honorable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, thank you. No, the response was very detailed. I'm happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. Do you have any follow-up question? None. The next question is from Honorable Grobler. I'm told Honorable Morgan will stand in for Honorable Grobler. He asked to be excused. Honorable Premier, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The question reads, over the past couple of years, unemployment and in particular youth unemployment became a huge challenge in our province. In keeping with this analogy, will the Premier answer the following questions? 1, has youth unemployment been increasing or decreasing over the past 5 years? If so, why has this happened? In response, Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is factually true that unemployment has been increasing. The unemployment rate in terms of the strict definition of youth of working age 15 to 35 years in Mpumalanga was at a relatively high level of 48.7% in quarter 2 of 2022, according to the quarterly labor force survey of Statistics South Africa. However, when comparing quarter 1 and 2, unemployment decreased from 54.6% in quarter 1 of 2022. At the same time, the unemployment rate for the 18 to 24-year age cohort decreased from 67.3% in quarter 1 of 2022 to 62.2% in quarter 2 of 2022. It is common knowledge, Honourable Deputy Speaker, that the economy has not been performing well due to a number of factors, including global economic decline, COVID-19 pandemic, and geopolitical factors that are beyond our control. Second question, apart from the Mpumalanga Development Fund, does our provincial government provide any free training initiatives which may help to alleviate youth unemployment, and if so, what are these initiatives? In response, the Mpumalanga provincial government is rolling out the following free training to the unemployment youth. 1, the enterprise development through DDET. 2, breaking the barriers to entry into the public service program. The third one, artisan development program in partnership with the TVET colleges and Department of Education. We also have the Fortune 40 Young Farmers Incubation Program. We are also having through the MRTT, the various artisans field. And lastly, the business development training through the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. Question 3. On the Mpumalanga Appropriation Bill, the Portfolio Committee for the Office of the Premier noted that the spending for the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund was reported to be at 0%. What is our current spending of the Youth Development Fund? Honourable Deputy Speaker, the current spending of the Youth Development Fund for the financial year 2022-2023 disbursement is still at 0%. This is so because the applications are still being assessed before the final decision on disbursement can be made. Due to the increased volumes of applications received this financial year, it is envisaged that the disbursement of the fund will be finalized by end of this third quarter for the financial year 2022-2023. And we're doing this, Honourable Deputy Speaker, because we just want to be very meticulous in the work that we are doing and making sure that all deserving applicants do receive the funding and through proper verifications of all the applicants. Question 4, Honourable Premier, what is our province absorption rate of recent graduates, and do we have an idea how long graduates remain unemployed before entering the workforce? In response, graduates in the province are experiencing a higher absorption rate than people with a grade 12 certificate, for example, but not all of them are absorbed by the provincial labor market. This is reflected in the 14.5% unemployment rate of graduates in Mpumalanga, according to the quarter 2 of 2022 labor statistics of Statistics South Africa. Unfortunately, we are not in a position yet to determine the duration of their stay before joining the workforce, as the reasons vary for each individual. The last question, what initiatives have been taken by this provincial government to give recent graduates necessary work experience? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, As the provincial government, we have contracted 409 interns across departments. Furthermore, the province has also provided work experience to 180 unemployed graduates on artisan development. These numbers exclude the interns that are absorbed by the private sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Mogwen, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I'm covered, thanks.
Thank you, honorable members. Do we have any follow-up question? None. And the next question is from Honorable Weber, asking Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Freedom Front Plus notices with concern that despite a pending land claim on the Manyaleti Game Reserve that has been dragging since 1998, the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency had granted a concession to AM Lodge, bought by entrepreneur Oswell Mashaba after the PRASA scandal in 2021. Property records show how Zetaco 6, a company of which Mashaba is the only director, bought 3 pieces of land worth 27 million rand next to Manyaledi 5 days after his company was paid for the PRASA scandal. All 3 properties were paid for in cash. The legitimate land claimant claimed that they were not known in this matter. Can the Honourable Premier explain why the Manyaleti CPAs were not engaged in this matter, and please provide the correspondence engaging the CPAs on the matter of a tender on Manyaleti? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, the MTPA is required by its founding legislation to liaise and consult with all relevant stakeholders, including individuals and communities, in exercising and performing its powers and functions. In the Mpumalanga provincial protected areas or environments where the MTPA is appointed as a management authority as part of performance or implementation of its operation, it engages with its stakeholders in a various structures formed, such as liaison committees, or in the meetings formally convened for any required stakeholder engagements. Furthermore, in terms of its founding legislation, the MTPA may enter into agreement and public-private partnerships. In addition, the MTPA is required to progressively endeavor to increase its own revenue generation and collection in order to achieve its legislative objectives. Accordingly, with no exception to its legislative requirements set out above, the MTPA engaged the relevant stakeholders regarding the AM Lodge concession agreement. In particular, among others, the Manyaleti CPA members were engaged on this process. The MTPA made a presentation to the CPA members and Mpumalanga Regional Land Claim Commission in 2019 on the commercial opportunities identified in Manyaleti natural nature reserves to generate revenue. In the 2019-20 financial year, in its annual performance plan, among others, the MTPA identified commercial projects in the reserve with the potential to generate revenue as its targets as per the Integrated Management Plan and Tourism Master Plan of the reserve. The restaurants at Manyaleti was one of the concession opportunities prioritized. However, the implementation of these planned concession opportunities were not achieved mainly due to the request made by the landowners and the RLCC to the MTPA, which is that all commercial projects in the reserve must be put on hold in order for land claim matters to be concluded that year. As a result, the commercial projects were carried over to the next financial year, which was the 2020-21 financial year. Question 2. what resolutions were determined, and what benefits from this concession tender are the CPAs receiving. The MTPA held a meeting with the CPAs and the RLCC on the matter of business opportunities at Manyaleti Nature Reserve on the 10th of May 2021. It was resolved that in the meeting that the MTPA should continue with the commercialization of business opportunities in Manyaleti Nature Reserve. The process of issuing concessions follows guidelines of the settlement agreement and the co-management agreement, whereby a provision is made for a proportional benefit sharing with the CPA. Question 3. Was this tender and the negotiation beforehand approved by the legal director of the Office of the Regional Land Claims Commissioner in Mpumalanga, Advocate Kabelo Matsana? If so, please provide the proof. The negotiations were managed by the MTPA in accordance with the provision of the MTPA Act number 5 of 2005, Section 3 of the Act provides for the MTPA to promote and create socio-economic growth and transformation within the tourism and conservation industry, thereby creating economic and employment opportunities for previously disadvantaged individuals and local communities in the province. The legislation provides the MTPA with the competencies to negotiate and enter into contractual agreements. The RLCC's responsibility is to restitute land, particularly in the conservation land, and provide the MTPA with the legitimate CPAs or structures to work with in co-management and development of nature reserves. Question 4. Under whose authority did the MTPA grant this concession to AM Lodge? And please provide the list of applications for this concession as well as the proper SCM steps taken. The MTPA granted the concession to AM Lodge by virtue of the legislative powers bestowed upon it in terms of its founding legislation. Further, in doing so, the MTPA adhered to the prescripts and processes in that regard. The opportunity was advertised on national and local newspapers, and the CPA and RLCCs were consulted about the Manyaleti restaurant that will be outsourced as a concession. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Weber, do you have a follow-up question?
Madam Speaker, yes. I am uncomfortable what was happened here. Can I have a straight answer here? Madam Premier, are you in your heart of hearts happy that this was a straight deal?
Honorable Premier.
Well, in line with the prescripts as set out, I can safely say that this was a deal that went through in a fair and transparent manner, considering that the CPA and all other interested parties were consulted in this regard. And of course, if there is evidence to the effect of malfeasance in this regard, would gladly and appreciate having that so that we can interrogate and get to the bottom of it. If something did not go right, we will certainly follow up in that regard. But as things stand, in line with the prescripts that are bestowed to MTPA, this was handled in the manner in which it was supposed to be done. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable members, any follow-up question? None. And the next question is from Honorable N.G. Nyembe, and I'm told she's not well, and Honorable Zandamela will stand in for Honorable Nyembe, asking Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Honorable Premier hosted a business roundtable with investors, in particular those from the United States of America, which took place around July 2022. Question 1. Can the Honorable Premier tell the House what is the feedback from the said investors roundtable? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, I was scheduled to host the ambassador of the United States of America to the Republic of South Africa a few weeks ago. The meeting has since been postponed as a result of an injury that has befallen the ambassador. Amongst the items we were scheduled to deliberate upon was an update on the interest shown in the province by American business entities who formed part of the webinar, the optimization of bilateral relations and the positioning of Mpumalanga province to optimally benefit from the African Free Trade Agreement. The Department of DDET, through MEGA, is in constant communication with our embassy in the United States to follow up on potential foreign direct investment into the Mpumalanga province. Question 2. How is the province going to benefit from this, especially young unemployed people? Madam Deputy Speaker, the webinar was aimed at promoting the province as a potential trade and investment destination for investors in the various priority sectors such as energy, tourism, agriculture, and agribusinesses. Through this, it is hoped that new foreign direct investment will contribute towards expanding existing business and setting of new projects, thus creating prospect for job opportunities. The seminar was also aimed at attracting those who would be keen to invest in skills development in these sectors, to empower our youth and enable them to venture into their own business, be they small or medium enterprises. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Zandamela, do you have a follow-up question?
No, thanks, Deputy Speaker. It's not a question per se, because the Premier said the webinar didn't sit, it was postponed. But based on the percentages that she gave, obviously she's not happy with there's no improvement in the youth unemployment. Can that also maybe Premier look at that maybe when it sits, that should be the priority, that the youth must be catered in those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Premier.
No, thank you very much for the follow-up question. Maybe to clarify, the webinar we did have, Madam Deputy Speaker, what is outstanding, the feedback session in terms of the investors. So what happened, the ambassador fell off the horseback and he's since been booked off sick for 6 weeks. So we wish him a speedy recovery. As soon as he's back at work, we'll then continue with the feedback session so that we get the feel as to which areas are they interested in, as they have initiated this meeting to give us feedback on the way forward, henceforth. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable members, do you have a follow-up question? None. The next question is from Honorable F. V. Mlombo, asking Honorable Premier, and over to Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. The question reads, recent research revealed that there are bulk infrastructure projects involving millions of rands that are still not implemented by various departments, either due to non-proper project planning, site monitoring, or supervision. Question 1, considering the above, can the Honorable Premier give more details to this House as to how many bulk infrastructure projects are still not implemented in the province, and please name them? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport is constructing the following bulk infrastructure project: construction of a 7 megaliter water reservoir and sewer pump station infrastructure at the Mpumalanga High Altitude Training Center in Emakazeni local municipality, the construction of bulk water supply pipeline at the Mpumalanga High Altitude Training Center in Emakazeni. In terms of monetary value, can the Honorable Premier update this House as to how much have been spent so far in these projects? The project cost for the construction of a 7 megaliters of water reservoir and sewer pump station infrastructure at the Mpumalanga High Altitude Training Center is 29,351,000 rand, and the expenditure to date is 4.9 million rand. The project cost for the construction of bulk water supply pipeline at the Mpumalanga High Altitude Training Center is 57,878,000 rand, and the expenditure to date is 34,814 million rand. Question 3. Can the Honourable Premier update this House as to how far is the implementation of both the Cultural Hub and the High Altitude Training Center? Insofar as the Cultural Hub, Madam Deputy Speaker, it is intended to provide a platform for aspiring and established artists, designers, musicians, and performers, amongst others, to develop and showcase and sell their skills and products through a variety of media, including film and television. It is destined to become a key driver of agricultural tourism, economic growth, and entrepreneurial activity in White River, as well as within the Greater Mpumalanga province. In recognizing the economic significance of the creative industry, is also intended to provide economic opportunities and the much-needed infrastructure for visual and performing artists, as well as filmmakers to tell the South African and larger African story. The following key milestones were recorded on this project: land purchase as the property described in title deed number T87028/1995 as portion of agricultural holding 56 with 20 hectares. Detailed designs and costing have been completed. Environmental impact assessment and town planning rights and geotech have been completed. Drawings and bill of quantities have been completed. The master plan has been produced, registered the project as public-private partnership through consultation with Provincial Treasury, confirmation of water rights. The current status is as follows. The transaction advisory work that commenced in December 2021 with the review of the project documentation has been completed. Further to this work has been undertaken on the feasibility study to redo and align the feasibility study sections that are affected by the observations of National Treasury. Reviewed draft feasibility bankable study as per the remedial work proposed by National Treasury towards attainment of National Treasury Approval 1 has been submitted. In the 2022-23 financial year, first quarter, 3 engagement meetings were made with National Treasury to further clarify and update the documents submitted on bankable feasibility study. The department is currently awaiting the response from National Treasury before it can continue with other stages of the PPP processes. Insofar as the Mpumalanga High Altitude Training Center, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the main aim of the High Altitude Training Center is to provide an excellent infrastructure that will offer international training, high performance center for optimal training and injury rehabilitation, Faculty of Sports, optimal training and injury rehabilitation, Faculty of Sports Science, boarding schools for talented young sports people from across the country. The land will accommodate plus minus 24 different facilities. The following are the key deliverables achieved by the project since inception, which includes land purchase on portion 3 of the farm, Tweefontein 357 JT, Belfast Emakazeni local municipality, main site environmental impact assessment approved, Building design inception complete, master plan and budget have been developed, registered the High Altitude Training Center as public-private partnership with National Treasury. In 2019, the province resolved that the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, as the implementing authority, should focus on the implementation of bulk services such as water pipeline, sewer mains, pump station, 7 milliliters reservoirs, as well as the bulk electricity reticulation and the construction of an access road and related road infrastructure that will serve as an enabling work towards attracting private investment. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the current progress recorded on bulk infrastructure today include, in terms of Project 1, the 7 megaliter reservoir and sewer pump station. The contract was at the value of 29,351,418 rands. The expenditure to date is standing at 4.9 million rand. The progress is at 17%. The actual construction is sitting at 12%. On Project 2, which is the construction of bulk water pipeline, Section 1, the contract value is at 18 million odds. The expenditure to date is sitting at 8.9 million rand, which the progress is in terms of expenditures at 49.6%. The actual construction is sitting at 92%. Project 3, construction of bulk water pipelines and sewer main, Section 2, construction value is at 29 million plus, and the expenditure to date is sitting at 13 million rands. Progress to date in terms of expenditure is 61%. The actual construction is at 65%. Project 4, the construction of bulk water pipeline and sewer main, Section 3. The construction value is at 18,335,000 rand. Expenditure to date is 8.3 million rand. The progress in terms of expenditure, we're sitting at 46%. The actual construction is at 60%. Question 4. In terms of your municipal intervention and support, how far is the provincial government in terms of assisting Pixlika Isa Kaseme municipality in sourcing the 23 million required to refurbish the Volkras water treatment plant? Madam Deputy Speaker, to date, no budget has been allocated for the Volkras water treatment works as yet. However, we are still in discussion with the Department of Water and Sanitation regarding the required budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I think we must appreciate the progress that has been registered at the Cultural Hub and the High Altitude Training Center. And they would request that the respective departments that are dealing with the implementation to fast-track this process, because it has got the potential of growing our economy and creating sustainable jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I agree with the Chief Whip of the ruling party that certainly these projects need to be fast-tracked. They've long been in the pipeline, and of course, with the deliberations that we are still having with the National Treasurer in terms of bankable amounts, we really need to make sure that we fast-track that so that we can enable the PPP initiative that was initiated. Because as provincial government alone, we must be honest, we will not be able to carry through these projects until we get appropriate funding in this regard. But we will not stop and will not lower our sleeves until we get this work done. Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable members, do you have a follow-up question? None. The next question is from Honorable Mahlangu, asking Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the question from Honorable Mahlangu. As the country recently commemorated the National Day of Women on 9th of August 2022, more than 40% of Black women were out of work in the first quarter of the year. They continue to bear the brunt of unemployment catastrophe. Question 1. Considering the above, can the Honourable Premier allude to the above statement as to how, as the province, are we affected? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, as Mpumalanga Province, our situation with regards to the unemployment is not unique to the rest of the provinces of the country. Unemployment amongst Black women is at 41.16% as per the report of the Labour Force Survey first quarter of 2022-2023. The second question, does the Honourable Premier have programs in place to address gender inequality and long-lasting consequences for women in the province? In response, yes, we do have various programs aimed at addressing gender inequality in the province, like the program of Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund, which has benefited about 22 women, the agricultural initiative, which have benefited 11,355 women, and over and above that, a total of 8,100 hectares of land was made available to women for food production. Through the EPWP, we have benefited about 6,276 women. Through the Community Works Program, we have benefited about 26,500 women. Through the Nursing College intake, about 55 women were taken. Through the Sakabaki program, about 415 were women. The environmental sector employment, we've taken about 50 of them. Through cooperatives, we have beneficiated about 77 women. Through the NPOs, we have beneficiated about 365 women. Community Nutrition Development Centers, about 299 women are beneficiaries, which then brings us to a total of about 45,414 women. Question 4. Statistically, can the Honourable Premier give an update to this August House as to how many women enterprises or companies are participating and have benefited in the provincial economy? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, the provincial economy comprises both the public and private sectors. From the public sector, women-owned enterprises are participating in procurement opportunities offered through our central system database. From the provincial allocation, a total spend of 682,919,492 million rand was accessed by women-owned enterprises in the financial year 2021-22, which translates to 31.92%. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Premier. Honourable Mahlangu, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I'm happy I don't have any further questions. I just appreciate the manner she responded in terms of considering women in the province. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mahlangu. Honourable members, do you have a follow-up question? None. And the next question is from Honourable R.J. Stolle, and she's not in the house. I did not get any sign who's going to stand in for. You will send asking Honourable Premier. Over to you, Honourable Premier.
Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker. The question from Honourable Weber. With regards to departmental travel and accommodation claims, it has recently come to the attention of the Freedom Front Plus that government officials are taking advantage of their access to public funds via petrol claims and government-owned petrol cards. Please answer the following questions. 1, does the provincial government often have problems with government officials who take advantage of travel and or accommodation claims or cards to public funds? In response, there are few minor incidents reported which are often identified before the claim is authorized. These incidents are largely related to the misrepresentation of vehicles, engine capacity, and their justification for kilometers claimed. However, these instances are easily identified through the controls and the mechanism put in place. Where these incidents are discovered after the effect, corrective measures are then taken to recover the costs. Question 2. What is the daily limit for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the accommodation for officials of various ranks? In response, the daily limits for the Office of the Premier are as follows. For breakfast is 110 rand, lunch 160 rands, dinner 180 rand. Government policy dictates that the combined cost for all the 3 meals mentioned above should not exceed an amount of 450 rands per day. The daily limits above were approved in line with the DPSA Circular Number 1 of 2022 that was issued on the 13th of April 2022. If an official incurs costs in excess of the above limits without sufficient motivation, reimbursement will only be up to the allowable limits. In terms of accommodation, as per the departmental policy, we are in line with the National Treasury Instruction Number 4 of 2017-2018, which provides the following limits. For at the Deputy Director General level, you qualify for a 3 or 4 star hotel up to an amount of 1,700 rand. Senior managers, you qualify for a 3 to 4 star hotel up to 1,700. Level 1 to 14, a 3 star hotel up to 1,530. Guest house, Deputy Director General, 3 or 4 star, up to 1,460. Senior managers, 3 to 4 star guest house, up to 1,460. Question 3. What are the control measures taken by your office to prevent unauthorized use of government vehicles and the government's fuel and travel allowances? Please note that the Freedom Front Plus will follow up these questions with written requests for specific documents related to officials' access to public funds. In response, all departments have a dedicated transport subdirectorate which is responsible for the overall management of government vehicles. The transport section supply chain management unit will not issue a car to any official without authorization and consent by their immediate supervisors or sectional heads. Adequate documentation, validation, and intended trip must be furnished together with the request for use of government vehicle. Every government vehicle has a tracking device installed in order to monitor movements and help guard against abuse. A monthly report is generated by the Transport Directorate which details the movement of the car, including, amongst others, the initial and the final location and kilometers traveled. No departments honor any travel claim without prior authorization by either the immediate supervisor or the sectional head. Adequate documentation, validation, a trip taken must be furnished together with the claim prior to approval of the travel claim. Officials are not allowed to exceed 2,000 kilometers per month unless prior authorization is obtained from the accounting officer. A limit is set on a number of times one can refill a car, including a waiting period for the next refill, in order to prevent abuse of government fuels. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Weber, do you have a follow-up question?
No, Madam Deputy Speaker, I thank the Honourable Premier for the straight answers that were given.
Thank you. Honorable members, do we have follow-up question? None? The next question is from Honorable MP Mkabela, asking Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker. In the beginning of the year 2022, we saw in the media and we were told that the first phase of the Nkosi City is expected to commence in June this year and is likely to be a game changer, which will see over 15,000 employment opportunities created. One, can the Honourable Premier give us an update on the project? Yes, indeed, Nkosi City will be a game changer and is expected to create approximately 15,000 employment opportunities once completed. However, the first phase did not commence as anticipated in June 2022 due to a number of challenges, the issue of bulk infrastructure being the most prominent one. However, the project steering committee has made the following progress in this regard. The City of Mbombela has applied to DBSA for project preparation funding to prepare feasibility studies to determine the available bulk infrastructure options for the Nkosi City development. The approval of the PPF application by the DBSA is subject to a council resolution from the City of Mbombela, which is expected by the end of November 2022. The Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs has budgeted for the drilling and equipping of 5 boreholes during the financial year 2022-23 financial year. The department has commenced with the drilling of boreholes and the test results are currently being awaited from the laboratory. The yield of the boreholes is expected to service phase 1A of Nkosi City. The developer, Nkosi City Development Pty Ltd, intends to enter into an off-take agreement with City of Mbombela, Nkosi City CPA and Silulumanzi to raise private funding to develop one or all 3 dams identified in the vicinity of Nkosi City. The City of Mbombela is also in negotiations with the owners of Primkop Dam to raise the dam walls as an alternative to the required bulk water for the development. The Department of Water and Sanitation is on track with the feasibility study and environmental impact assessment process for the regional dam. The expected completion date for the study and assessment is end of 2023. The developer is in the process of entering into the joint venture agreement with an independent power producer, Upgrade Energy Africa, to supply renewable energy to Nkosi City. Once the agreement has been finalized, an application will then be submitted to ESCOM and DMRE to access the INEP grant to be used to provide electricity to the RDP and BNG houses. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Mkabela, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you very much again, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I don't have any follow-up questions. Thank you, Honorable Premier, for the response.
Thank you. Honorable members, do you have follow-up question? None. We move to the next question that will be asked by Honorable Mashiko, and I'm told he sent the apology, and Honorable Makaringa will stand in for Honorable Mashiko, asking the Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The question is from Honorable Mashiko. It reads, initiation schools are cultural schools which young boys and girls attend to be taught the values, the principles, respect and accountability within their cultural tradition. In our province, thousands of initiates have just returned home from this initiation school. Question 1. Regarding the above, can the Honorable Premier share with us if there are any deaths reported at the initiation schools? If yes, can Honorable Premier tell us as to how many died or admitted at hospital? Madam Deputy Speaker, we have unfortunately recorded a total of 19 fatalities, and a total of 50 initiates were hospitalized. Second question, what could have been the cause of this adverse situation? Honorable Deputy Speaker, in my tradition, our culture is sacred. As a woman, I'm not at liberty to talk about this matter. Through your indulgence, Deputy Speaker, I request that I submit the response in writing through the Leader of Business Government, as I'm not eligible to speak on this matter. I'm doing this being mindful of the fact that I remain accountable to the legislature. At the very same time, I would like not to offend our traditional leaders. I'm doing this to protect the decorum of this House. I do have the responses. If I might be allowed to do as such, I will then send them over immediately to your office.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Makaring, I think we'll have a space to find what Honorable Premier said.
The Deputy Speaker, I think Honorable Premier has well articulated the response. No further questions.
Thank you. And the next question, it's from Honorable J.C. Shabalala asking the Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thank you for your indulgence, and Honorable Deputy Speaker and Honorable Makaring. I'll then move on to question number 54 from Honorable Shabalala. During the State of the Province address, the Honorable Premier said the province has introduced the bulk water supply project in order to alleviate the shortage and inconsistent supply of water, especially in the rural areas. Question 1. Can the Honorable Premier share with us if there are any plans in place by the provincial government to mitigate the increasing scarcity of reliable and safe water in the province? In response, Madam Deputy Speaker, in the current financial year, 2022-23, a total of over 2 billion rand has been set aside for the implementation of water and sanitation projects through various grant funding. The contribution of each grant funding is as follows. Through the Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant, we have set aside about 1 billion rand. Through the Water Service Infrastructure Grant, we have set aside 628 million rand. Through the Municipal Infrastructure Grant, we have set aside 1 billion rand. Through the Integrated Urban Development Grant, we have set aside 4 million rand. The distribution of the budget across the 3 districts is as follows. In Kangala alone, we have allocated them 766 million rand, whilst in Harsibande, they've got an allocation share of 979 million rand. Lastly, in Ehlanzeni, they've got an allocation of 987 million rand. The processes are underway for the development of the Mountain View Regional Dam in the city of Mbombela and Kabos Dam in Amsterdam within the Mkhondo municipality, which are part of the long-term solution to the water problem. The province is also working with DWS to finalize the provincial water master plan, which will assist the province in unlocking the water and sanitation challenges. In addition, an action plan is under development with the focus on addressing sewer spillages. The province is already visible in municipalities responding to the challenge of sewer spillages through the Department of COGTA, Department of Water and Sanitation, and Department of Human Settlements. the finalization of the SLA for the operation of the Oshani water scheme between City of Mbombela and Bushbuck Ridge municipalities is at an advanced stage. This scheme will benefit the northern Zigazi areas within the jurisdiction of the City of Mbombela municipality. The bulk water scheme from Loskop Dam, which is slightly over 1 billion, shall benefit both the people of Tembisile and Dr. J.S. Moroka municipalities. The project is at procurement stage for the appointment of a contractor. The province, working with municipalities and DWS, is working on water demand and conservation strategies to reduce water losses and ensure that more water is available for consumption. The prioritization of infrastructure development is the mechanism to speed up the delivery of infrastructure for basic services. Moreover, the province, through the Provincial Project Management Unit, is providing technical support to the project management unit across municipalities to improve project planning and implementation. Lastly, the province, through the Department of COGTA, is partnering with the Dutch Water Authority from the Netherlands on the Blue Deal Crocodile River program, aimed at ensuring access to clean and sufficient water implemented in our 4 municipalities, such as Nkomazi, Emakazeni, and the City of Mbombela. Question 2. Can the Honourable Premier provide progress so far regarding the bulk water supply mentioned above? The bulk water scheme from Loskop Dam, which is slightly over 1 billion, shall benefit both the people of Tembisile and Dr. J.S. municipalities. The scope of work for the project entails the following: the construction of 20 megaliter day raw water abstraction works, the construction of 40-kilometer long, 600 millimeter nominal dia raw water pump main, construction of booster pump station along the 600-meter dia raw water pump main, construction of 20 megaliter day water treatment plant in Verina D, the construction of a clear water pump station in Verina D, the construction of 3-kilometer clear water pump main from the pump station to the command reservoir, the construction of 2 times 10 megaliter command reservoir in Verina D, the construction of 30-kilometer of bulk distribution pipelines to various reservoirs. To date, the implementing agent, being the Nkangala District Municipality, is at the procurement stage, and the contractors are expected to commence with works by the end of November 2022. What challenges is the bulk water supply project facing, and how is the Premier planning to address such challenges? There were delays on the approval of the implementation readiness study due to issues of water conservation and demand management plan, which needed to be finalized and approved by Council before approval of the readiness study. The study has since been approved, and the project was advertised for procurement of contractors in March 2022. However, the project needed to be re-advertised as a result of non-responsiveness of bidders. The tender has been re-advertised in June 2022 with an aim of finalizing the appointment of the contractors by November 2022. The water use license is not fully approved as required. Only 11.3 megaliter per day has been approved. We are currently in a process of finalizing approval for the remaining of 8.7 megaliter per day to address the outstanding portion of 8.7 megaliter per day water use license. The provincial government is working closely with the Minister of DWS to fast-track the process. Question 4. What strategies is the Premier going to implement in addressing the inconsistent and scarcity of water supply in many rural areas of our province? The province, working with DWS and Inkomati Usutu Catchment Management Agency, is currently finalizing the development of the Provincial Water Master Plan, which would assist the province in unlocking the water challenges. This plan would outline the short, medium, and long-term interventions. It is important to highlight that feasibility studies have commenced for the construction of the Mountain View Regional Dam, which would provide water relief for the city of Mbombela. The construction of Kabosh Dam at Amsterdam, which is at detailed design stage, will also provide relief to the community of Mkondo. The finalization of the SLA for the operation of the Hoshani water scheme between City of Mbombela and Bushbuckridge Municipality is at an advanced stage. These schemes will benefit the northern Tsigazi areas within the jurisdiction of City of Mbombela Municipality. The bulk water scheme from Loskop Dam, which is slightly over 1 billion, shall benefit both the people of Tembisile and Dr. J.S. Moroka. The project is at the procurement stage for the appointment of the contractor. Other interventions under implementation includes the Drikopis Regional Bulk Water Scheme and Sibanga Regional Bulk Water Scheme in Komazi Municipality, the EFST Hook, Egulindeni Bulk Water Supply in Chief Albert Luthuli Municipality, the feasibility on the Liroro, Matibidi and Muremela Bulk Water Supply in Tabachweu Municipality. The province, working with municipalities and DWS, is working on water demand and conservation strategies to reduce water losses and ensure that more water is available for consumption. The prioritization of infrastructure development is the mechanism to speed up the delivery of infrastructure for basic services. Moreover, the province, through the Provincial Project Management Unit, is providing technical support to the project management units across municipalities to improve project planning and implementation. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Shabalala, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. No, I'm covered, thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Shabalala. Honorable members, do we have a follow-up question? None. The next question is from Honorable Javier Morgan, asking Honorable Premier. Over to you.
Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker. Honorable Premier, there are a number of municipalities in the province who are severely struggling to reduce and stop distribution losses associated with water and electricity. Given the above, will the Premier answer the following questions? Could we be provided with the water distribution loss percentage in all our municipalities for the 2020-21 financial year? The water distribution losses percentages for all our municipalities in the financial year in question are as follows. In Sugaligwa, it's 68%, Mkondo 96%, Ligwa 92%, Governor Beki 33%, Dr. Pixliga Isakasema 63%, Chief Albert Luthuli 47%, Dibaliseng 5%. The average for municipalities in Garsibande district is standing at 58%. In Emalahleni, it's 27%, Steve Chwete 21%, Emakazeni 2%, Dr. JS 6%, Tembisile Hani 31%, Victor Kanye 59%. The average for municipalities in Kangala is standing at 24%. In the city of Mbombela, it's standing at 22%, Bushbuckridge 26%, Nkomazi 0%, Tabachweu 64%. The average for municipalities in Ehlanzeni district is standing at 28%. The total average for the entire province, we are standing at 39%. It is important, though, Madam Deputy Speaker, to note that the acceptable sector norm for water losses ranges from 10 to 25%. The losses in Dibaliseng, Emakazeni, and Dr. JS City of Mbombela are within the acceptable range. Of particular concern is a high percentage water loss in the jurisdiction of Garsibande district. The deterioration state of infrastructure with poor maintenance in most of the municipalities above the acceptable norms for water losses may be the contributing factor to the water losses. Question 2. What was the average water loss for our municipalities in 2019-20 financial year? On the average, the water losses in the 2019-2020 financial year in the province were at 33%, with the 3 districts at various averages as follows. In Ihlanzeni alone, we were at 25%, Kangala 29%, whilst Garsibande is the highest at 40%. Question 3, could we be provided with the electricity distribution loss percentage in all our municipalities for the 2020-21 financial year? The electricity distribution losses percentage for all our municipalities in the financial year in question are as follows. Msuka Lekwa 55%, Mkondo 45%, Lekwa 34%, Governbeg 61%, Dr. Pixley Isakasema 10%, Chief Albert Lituli 20%, Dipaliseng 27%. The average for municipalities in Garsibande is 36%. Emalahleni 27%, Steve Chwete 7%, Emakazeni 39%, Dr. JS none, Tembisile Hani none, Victor Kanye 7%. The average for municipalities in Kangala is 20%. City of Mbombela 22%, Bushbuck Rich none, Nkomazi 25%, Tabachwewu 35%. The average for municipalities in Ehlanzeni district is standing at 27%. The overall total for the province is 30%. Now, in terms of the acceptable norm for electricity distribution losses, we should be ranging between 5% and 10%. The performance of municipalities indicates that only the electricity distribution losses recorded in Steve Chwete, Victor Kanye, and Dr. Pixley Isakasema municipalities are within the normal range. Of particular concern are municipalities of Msuka Lekwa, Mkondo, and Governbegi. Both have losses in excess of 40%. All 3 of these municipalities are also in areas with their ESCOM account. 3 of these municipalities, Dr. J.S. Moroka, Tembisile, and Bushbuck Ridge, do not supply electricity in their areas. Question 4. Do all local municipalities in the province ring-fence a portion of their budget for infrastructure maintenance? If not, why not? Yes, they do. Municipalities do ring-fence a portion of their budget for infrastructure maintenance. On the average, in the 2022-23 financial year, municipalities in the province have planned to spend 3.4% of their budget on operations and maintenance. The percentage of budget commitment for operations and maintenance in each municipality is as follows. Msuluka Lekwa 1%, Mkondo 2%, Lekwa none, Governbegi 4%, Pixley 21%, Chief Albert Lutuli 8%, Dipaliseng 1%. The average in Garsibande district, we are standing at 5%. In Emalahleni 2%, Steve Chwete 2%, Emakazen 1%, Dr. JS 2%, Tembisile 1%, Victor Kanye none. The average in Kangala district is 2%. City of Mbombela 5%, Bushbuck Ridge 1%, Komazi 2%, Tabachwewu 6%. The average in Ehlanzeni is 4%. The total average within the province is 3.4%. The reasons for these low percentages is the fact that a large number of municipalities cannot present a cash-funded budget due to severe cash flow constraints. The norm is to provide at least 8% of their operational budget towards repairs and maintenance, or 1% of asset value per category of asset. The only municipalities that stand out as providing enough for this important budget item are Pixley, Isakaseme, and Chief Albert Lituli. The City of Mbombela and Tabachwewu municipality almost reaches the level of 80%, but still behind. Until such time as the municipalities manage to pay their ESCO monthly bills in full for their monthly consumption, they will not be in a position to deliver a cash-funded budget, and for that to happen, a substantial increase in cash flow liquidity is needed. This means they will not be able to set aside the necessary cash to render this activity. Currently, the Provincial Treasury through MISA, as well as the DBSA, are implementing a number of initiatives to increase the revenue of the municipalities that are struggling in order to improve their cash flow. The Development Bank of Southern Africa Revenue Enhancement Program for the local municipality includes the following main areas: support municipalities to increase their own revenue generation with a focus on improving their financial sustainability, unlocking infrastructure that has sufficient capacity, taking cognizance of the potential growth of an area, assist the municipality to identify and implement low-hanging fruits aimed at improving and protecting revenue base, assist the municipalities to develop bankable business cases for funding of short, medium, and long-term infrastructure requirements to broaden and protect the revenue. And lastly, assist our municipalities to apply for appropriate grants to address systems development where relevant. The DBSA has since approved an amount of 28 million rand to assist the following municipalities: Tabachewu, Emalahleni, Msugalika, and Ligwa in rolling out revenue enhancement support. Municipalities such as City of Mbombela, Victor Kanye Mkhondo, Dr. Pixliga Isakaseme, and Emma Kazeni are currently under consideration for the same support by DBSA. The National Treasury, supported by Provincial Treasury, is also supporting municipalities with the procurement of smart meters and security structures to protect the large power unit, kiosk, and mini substation. Question 5. In municipalities with extremely high water distribution losses like Ligwa, what steps have been taken to reduce the water distribution loss, and is it proving to be effective over the past 2 years? In response, there is currently an intervention by the national government in terms of Section 139, subsection 7 of the Constitution, and all government role players are busy with support and interventions. The DBSA, through COGTA, has approved an asset care grant for Ligwa local municipality, and this will assist in the planning and maintenance of infrastructure assets. A service provider has been appointed, and the study is currently underway to determine the areas of intervention on the operations and maintenance on the municipal infrastructure. More importantly, the National Department of Water and Sanitation has committed a total of 350 million rand to address water and sanitation-related matters, including maintenance challenges, which are the major contributors to water distribution losses in the Ligwa local municipality. This intervention will start immediately as soon as the National Treasury repurposes the commitment budget from Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant to also address the maintenance-related matters. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Honorable Morgan, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I thank the Premier for the detailed response. Thank you.
Thank you. Any follow-up question? None. And the next question, I think will be the last one, Honorable Premier, because past, we need to end this question. It's from Honorable F.V. Mlombo, asking Honorable Premier. Over to you, Honorable Premier.
Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker. Almost 80% of township and urban economies controlled by foreign nationals who have also been found in possession of consumable counterfeit goods. In Mbombela, we have retail shops, spa, and Chinese shops employing foreign nationals on their floors. This is also coupled by several liquor outlets throughout the province being owned by companies owned by foreign nationals. What requirements do foreign nationals require to comply with to be able to operate a business in South Africa? Foreign nationals must be in possession of the business visa and have permanent residence in order to operate business in South Africa. In terms of the business visa, a business may be issued a visa by the Director General of the Department of Home Affairs to a foreigner intending to establish or invest in, or who has established and invested in a business in the Republic in which he or she may be employed, and an appropriate visa for the duration of the business visa to the members of such foreigner's immediate family, provided that such foreigner invests the prescribed financial or capital contribution in such businesses, research, or any other prescribed activity. In terms of permanent residence, the holder of the permanent resident permit has all the rights, privileges, duties, and obligations of a citizen, save for those rights, privileges, duties, and obligations which a law or the Constitution explicitly ascribes to citizenship. Subject to the Immigration Act, upon application, one of the permanent residence permits set out in Section 26 and 27 may be issued to a foreigner. A permanent residence permit shall be issued on condition that the holder is not prohibited or an undesirable person. For good cause, as prescribed, the DG may attach reasonable individual terms and conditions to a permanent residence permit. Question 2. Do all the retail shops owned by foreign nationals comply with the laws of South Africa regarding the operation of businesses by foreign nationals? Foreign nationals do not comply with our law in operation of business. Some of them use asylum papers permit to operate their own businesses. With asylum seekers permit, one can only work for somebody or study in the Republic of South Africa. In terms of the asylum transit visa, the DG may subject to the prescribed procedure under which the asylum transit visa may be granted. Issue an asylum transit visa to a person who at the port of entry claims to be an asylum seeker, valid for a period of 5 days only, to travel to the nearest refugee reception office in order to apply for asylum. Despite anything contained in any other law, when the visa contemplated in subsection 1 expires before the holder reports in person at the refugee reception office in order to apply for asylum in terms of section 21 of the Refugees Act of 1998, Act number 130 of 1998, the holder of that visa shall become an illegal foreigner and be dealt with in accordance with this act. Insofar as the relative's business visa, it may be issued for the prescribed period by the DG to a foreigner who is a member of the immediate family of a citizen or permanent resident, provided that such a citizen or permanent resident provides the prescribed financial assurance. The holder of a relative's visa may not conduct work. Insofar as the permanent residence, the holder of the permanent resident permit has all the rights, privileges, duties, and obligations of a citizen, save for those rights, privileges, duties, and obligations which a law or the Constitution explicitly ascribes to citizenship. A permanent resident permit shall be issued on condition that the holder is not a prohibited or an undesirable person. For good cause as prescribed, the DG may attach reasonable individuals' terms and conditions to the permanent residence permit. Question 3. What punitive measures are being taken against non-compliant business and the officials who have abated them? Operations are always conducted by the Immigration Department and Department of Labor on the foreign national shops. Employers are also charged in terms of Section 38 of the Immigration Act. Question 4. What does our immigration law say about the criteria of employing foreign nationals instead of local, especially the SPAR and Chinese jobs mentioned? In response, the section, in terms of Section 38 and Section 42 of the Immigration Act, it stipulates the following. Section 38, no person shall employ an illegal foreigner, a foreigner whose status does not authorize him or her to be employed by such person. Lastly, a foreigner on terms and conditions or in a capacity different from those whom he or she employs. Subsection 2, an employer shall make a good faith effort to ascertain that no illegal foreigner ascertains the status or citizenship of those whom he or she employs. Subsection 3, if it is proven, other than by means of the presumption referred to in subsection 1, it shall be presumed that the employer knew at the time of the employment that such person was among those referred to in subsection 1, unless such employer proves that he or she, 1, employed such a person in good faith, and 2, complied with subsection 2, provided that a stricter compliance shall be required of any employer who employs more than 5 employees or has been found guilty of a prior offense under this act related to this section. Subsection 4, an employer employing a foreigner shall for 2 years after the termination of such foreigner's employment keep the prescribed records relating thereto and report to the Director General the termination of such foreigner's employment and any breach of the side of the foreigner of his or her status. In terms of Section 42, aiding and abetting illegal foreigners, subsection 1, subject to this act and save for necessary humanitarian assistance, no person shall aid, abet, assist, enable, or in any manner help an illegal foreigner or a foreigner in respect of any matter, conduct on or transaction which violates such foreigner status when applicable, including but not limited to providing instruction or training to him or her, or allowing him or her to receive instructions or training, issuing to him or her a license or other authorization to conduct any business or carry on any professional or occupation, entering into an agreement with him or her for the conduct of any business or the carrying of any professional or occupation, conducting any business or carrying on any professional or occupation in cooperation with him or her, assisting, enabling, or in any manner helping him or her to conduct business or carrying on any profession or occupation, obtaining a license or other authority for him or her or on his or her behalf to conduct any business or carry on any professional or occupation, doing anything for him or help or on his or her behalf in connection with his or her business or profession or occupation, harboring him or her, which includes providing accommodation or letting or selling or in any manner making available any immovable property in the Republic to him or her. Question 5. Do our laws allow foreign nationals to operate liquor outlets? In response, the Mpumalanga Liquor Licensing Act does not preclude foreign nationals who are legally in the country from operating liquor outlets. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Honorable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, thank you very much. I'm happy I do not have a follow-up question. I hope community safety, security, and licensing will assist us from here because the Honorable Premier has clarified the conditions under which foreign nationals can operate. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, do you have a follow-up question? None. And we are left with 15 minutes. I don't know, Honorable Premier, you will be able to finish the next question in 15 minutes.
It's fairly long, but I can try, Madam Speaker. So I must say it's a very long question.
Then can't you respond in written so that we don't exhaust you because it's too long, it's 5 questions.
Okay. Now I'll do that. We are left with 4 questions, which I will then forward to the House through the Office of the Speaker, including the one that was asked by Honorable Mashiko, and the one that has not been responded to due to the absentee of the Honorable Stoli. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. We have come to an end of the questions, and that brings us to the end of today's business. You are all requested to remain standing at your places until the procession has left the chamber. The House is adjourned until on the 15th of November 2022 at 2:15 in the very same chamber.